Yes, we're recording. I'd like to call to order SFSS Council meeting, November 22nd on Wednesday at 4:37 p.m. Start off with a territorial acknowledgement. We respectfully acknowledge that the SFSS is located on the traditional unceded territories of the Coast Salish peoples, including the Musqueam, Squamish, Tsleil-Waututh, Coquitlam, and Katzie nations. Unceded means that these territories have never been handed over, sold, or given up by these nations, and were currently situated on occupied territories. We go to roll call, and we can start up with Bachelor of Environment, Student Union. Is Bachelor of Environment here? It seems not. Do we have Biomedical Physiology and Kinesiology, Student Union?
Hi everyone, Jovan, he, him, all of my access needs are met.
Thank you very much. How about Chemistry, Student Society? Chemistry, Anna? This seems like a no, and it is. Cognitive Science. Uban? It seems like this will be a no as well. But do we have Computing Science?
Hello. My name is Nemo. Pronouns are she, her. All my access needs are met. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Do we have Criminology?
Hello, my name is Henry. Pronouns he, him. All my access needs are just fine.
Excellent. Do we have Data Science?
Hello, my name's Jennifer, she, her, and all my access needs are met. Thank
That's
you.
fantastic. Do you have Earth Science, Student Union? In the chat, thank you. And then it's Economics, Student Society.
Hi everyone, my name is Dr. Rahman. My pronouns are he, him, and all my access needs are met. Thank you.
Very nice. And then it's Engineering.
Hey guys, my name's Tony. All my access needs are met.
Absolutely wonderful. Do we have Environmental Science?
Hi, everyone. I'm Grayson Bark, he, him pronouns, and all my access needs are met. Thank you.
Very good. Do we have Geography, Student Union? Geography, Eric? It seems like that is a no. Do we have Health Science undergraduate?
Hi everyone, this is Ishika, pronouns she, her, and all my access needs are met.
Wonderful, very nice. And then it's Indigenous Studies, Student Union. Do you have Indigenous Studies?
Should I say mine now or later, Liam?
Oh, hello. I thought you submitted regrets today. That's why your name
I
was.
did, but I put in my regrets that I left them because I'm leaving early if it goes past 6:30 today due to family issues. Per what the VP internal said, I'm supposed to do that if I'm leaving early from a meeting.
Oh, I see. Okay,
Yes.
I did not know. I thought it was for the entire
Okay,
meeting.
thank you.
Anyway, it's know that you're here. So thank you very much for speaking. It seems Indigenous is not here, so we will move on to Mechatronics.
Hi everyone, my name is Aiden and all my needs have been met.
Very, very good. And then it's MBB Student Union. Vice Chair.
Hi everyone, my name is Sam, my pronouns are he, him, and all my access needs are met.
Thank you very much, Sam. And then it's Philosophy Student Union. We don't seem to have philosophy. Do we have Science Undergraduate Society?
Hello, my name's Catherine. I use she, her pronouns, and all my access needs are met. Thank you.
Very good, thank you. Sociology and Anthropology Student Union.
Hello, my name is Andres. All access needs are met. Pronouns are he, him. Thank you.
Excellent. Statistics and Actuarial Science.
Hello, I'm Van. Pronouns she, her. All access needs are met.
Very good, thank you. Sustainable Energy Engineering.
Hi everyone, my name is Andrew. My pronouns are he, him, and all my access needs are met.
Wonderful, thank you. I see the Bomb Kareem's intro in the chat. It's noted. Thank you very much. Let's take a look at the next person. Oh, Disability and Neurodiversity Alliance. Inside the chat, thank you very much. Do we have students of Caribbean and African ancestry? Also in the chat, thank you very much. Residence Hall Association.
Liam, I spoke with Emmanuel. He said he'll be joining soon. He's just going to be a bit late, but
Got
he'll be
it.
joining
Thank
soon.
you. And then it's Teacher Support Staff Union. We don't seem to have TSSU. Then it's off to the exec committee. I'm here. Pronouns he, him, his. Access needs are just fine. VP University. Yo, Thomas. Oh boy. VP External. It seems like this is also a no. Do you have VP Equity? In the chat, thank you very much. VP Events.
Hello everyone, name's I pronounce he, him, his, my access needs are.
Thank you very much. All right, Temporary Operations Organizer.
Hi, Sindhu here, pronouns she, her, hers, access needs are met.
Thank you very much. I see TSSU in the chat. Thank you. Policy Research Community Affairs. That seems like a no. Admin Assistant. And I see it in the chat. Thank you very much. Okay, on to the items now. Starting with 4.1, be it resolved to adopt the consent agenda by unanimous consent. I'm assuming that we can all see my screen section over here. If there are any questions, now would be the time to ask them. But in case there aren't any, I'm going to be seeking unanimous consent right now. And I'm receiving no dissent. This passes unanimously. We can now move on to the adoption of the agenda. I'd like to move. Would anyone care to second?
History.
I heard history first, so history seconds be resolved to adopt the agenda as presented. Do we have any amendments, questions, discussions, etc.? Odd. Oh, Thomas, you have a list?
Yes, I have a few amendments. Okay, so sorry, one second. Okay. One moment. Okay. So for in camera, I'd like to write and instead as a question near 11.1. That's the first amendment I have.
I'm sorry, the audio is cutting out a bit.
Sorry, I don't know. Must be my damn. Oh, okay. I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm using my normal computer. I don't know what it is.
Oh, that's perfectly fine. No problem.
Okay, I'll put discussion items 11.1. And then also I'd like to add under new business. So that would go under 12.4. Yes. Or BCC at large nomination. And then I'll just copy paste it into the chat.
Are these the two, or are there any more?
That is everything. For now. So yes.
Okay, you move them as a batch?
I move all these amendments as a batch.
Okay, then I will second them as a batch. I'm seeking unanimous consent to adopt these amendments. And I'm receiving no dissent, so these are adopted. And does anyone else have any amendments to give? That's odd. Okay, then I guess I'll submit one. Oh, sorry, Thomas, you have another list?
Yes, I have one more list. And I'll add it under discussion items. So as a guess, was 11 point and 2. Okay. And yeah, there.
SFSS, SFU, APP. Okay, all right. I second it. I'm seeking unanimous consent. Receiving no dissent. This adoption also added. Before I paste anything in the chat myself, I guess I'll just ask, Geography Student Union, is there a grants appeal you'd like to submit today as an item? Is geography in here? No, it seems like they are not. Okay, then disregard. Never mind then. Yeah, I have no further items. So I guess I will be resolved to adopt the agenda as amended. Sam, you have your list.
Just want to double check. There's some noise when we were at the ratification of resignation, so I didn't catch everything. Have all the resignations been added? Not resignations, ratification of regrets. Sorry, guys. Didn't mean to give anyone a panic. We did all there are no resignations. It's just I wanted to double check on regrets because I didn't hear it.
Oh, you're right. It only shows a behavioral neuroscience counselor. It doesn't show all the other people who have submitted regrets.
Okay.
All right. Let me take care of the adoption of the agenda first. We can amend it later, add in the ratification of regrets, and then it would be fine. Yeah, I don't think there are any other further item amendments, so be it resolved to adopt the agenda as amended. I am looking for unanimous consent. I'm receiving no dissent. We officially have an agenda today. I'd like to move to suspend the rules, go back to the consent agenda so we could ratify the complete list of regrets. I am looking for a seconder.
History.
I hear history seconds, looking for unanimous consent again. I'm receiving no dissent. So be it resolved to ratify the complete list of regrets, which I can find shortly. Okay, they should be along with behavioral neuroscience. Oh, I have them related. It should be Arthi from Behavioral Neuroscience Student Society, History Student Union, since he will be leaving partway, Political Science Student Union, Society of Arts and Social Sciences, First Nations, Métis and Inuit Students Association, along with 2 execs, acting VP Internal, along with VP Finance. Okay, then let me think about how to do this. I would like to move to ratify these regrets. I'm looking for a seconder.
Second.
I hear CSA seconds, looking for unanimous consent. I'm receiving no dissent. Regrets have been ratified. We finished the adoption of the agenda. We can start off with a presentation, CSSS Silicon Valley trip. Okay. Computing science, if you are in here at the moment, would you like screen sharing privileges?
Yes, that would be good.
Okay, then. I'm going to stop sharing. Are you able to share your screen right now at the moment?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, cool. If you guys are ready for your presentation, then I guess I'll just mute myself and you guys can start whenever you're ready.
Okay, sounds great. Just give me a second to share my screen.
Of course.
And you guys see that?
Looks good, Mabel.
Okay. I'll let Mitch take it away.
Thanks. Hi, I'm Mitchell. I'm the old Computing Science Student Society president. I ran this trip earlier this year, and I'm helping out running it this year as well. Unfortunately, the main organizer, Dina, wasn't able to make it today, so I offered to come in and help out with the presentation to you all today. So we're going to go a little bit through this trip and what it means for students and what it runs like and what we're asking for from council today. So we're going to talk about the who's, what's, and yeah. So who is coming? So we're taking 25 students this year. We're taking them down to Silicon Valley, which is a really popular tech hub in America. It's like the tech hub of the world, kind of, where all sorts of these massive tech companies come in and run their organizations. So for most computing science students and a lot of other students, it's really like their dream, desired place to end up. They really want to move down there. They really want to work down there and experience the culture and experience working with like some of the biggest tech companies in the world, working on some wonderful products. But living in Vancouver, it can be difficult to understand what it's like to live down there, what it's like to work down there, what it's like to move away from perhaps your home country in Canada or move from Vancouver down to San Francisco area and experience that. So on this trip, we allow students to come and visit, and we get to tour a whole bunch of different companies. So earlier this year, we visited 5 companies. There were PayPal, Salesforce, LinkedIn, Apple, and Google. And from those companies, we got tours around their campuses. We got to speak with a whole bunch of alumni at each of the companies and ask them questions about their experience with working down in Silicon Valley, with their decision to move down there, with any regrets or any insights that they have. Students really get to learn from that and get to understand what it's really like to work down there. And I think a lot of students get inspired like that. So like it says here, this is primarily a trip for networking. So you get to make connections with alumni down there. You get to meet with alumni. You get to tour companies. So really, you get to experience the culture in the best way possible. Just the way that you can't do it working up here. I know I really learned a lot on that trip, even though I'm not personally planning to move to Silicon Valley. It was really, really inspirational trip to get to go on and meet with not only all my peers, to meet with the alumni and to meet with the companies and visit the wonderful campuses and all of that. So it's also a really good way for us to keep good connections with alumni in that area. So I know that we work with alumni relations and the Faculty of Applied Science alumni relations people as well. And they really like to help out because I think they know how valuable this trip is for them as well, just in the sense that they're still getting ins with the alumni there, and the alumni love to host us, which is just so wonderful to always have. So the timeline for this trip is going to take place next year after the spring semester. So students, not me, will be heading down April 30th, and they'll be flying out in the morning, and then they'll be touring a museum in the area. The following 3 days will be mostly just company visits. So one in the morning and one in the afternoon, they'll get to go and visit the various tech companies. So I know that like some companies like Discord have been visited in the past, Salesforce, LinkedIn, and the companies I named before, as well as a whole bunch of other ones. So on the last day, we also meet with even more alumni, and we kind of go for dinner with them. And then on the final day, which is Saturday, they'll be flying back to Canada and returning from the trip. So far, the companies that I haven't confirmed were NVIDIA, Discord, and Google. I know that there's talks with a whole bunch of other companies. So if anything, I think that the trip's going to have to cancel on some of the companies just because so many companies are actually interested in reaching out and excited about just the visit and learning more about the visit. So the trip is obviously a big expense for students because it's an international flight. It's an international, like staying in hotels. We have to book transportation between all the companies, and we have to pay for the alumni dinner and such, and any other sort of miscellaneous costs among that. Last year, students were responsible for paying, I think, just shy of $1,100, and the total cost per person was more about $1,400 to $1,500 per person. So we managed to get that down in no small part because of the generous contribution of the council earlier this year, that we were able to knock that price down for students. And this year we're looking at something similar where we're getting quite a bit of funding from the Computing Science Student Society and sources over there, as well as we're going to ask for $7,500 today from the council to help reduce the cost for students so that it becomes more accessible for all students. So yeah, some companies have provided us lunch and dinner, which was very nice of them, but overall, except for the alumni dinner, the lunch and dinners are not part of the CSSS. The breakfast is included with the hotel, and any tourism is on the individual student to contribute themselves. So we've done this trip in a few times in the past. We ran it in 2017, 2018, 2019, and most recently, earlier this year in April of 2023. So we had a little hiatus because of the pandemic, and that's, I think, understandable. So it was really nice to bring it back. I know this year they had over 98 students, I believe, interested in participating in this trip. So currently ongoing are some interviews and some talks with the students who are going to be potentially going, and learning more about those students' experience and trying to pick some really quality candidates to bring down there who would really value this trip. So there's some feedback on the screen of previous trips. I mean, we ran a survey afterwards, and I think everyone said that the trip met or exceeded their expectations, and almost everyone was saying that it exceeded their expectations, which was just wonderful to see. They all had really positive feedback, and I know that the planning this year is going even smoother than last year, because it's getting started even earlier than it did last year. So it's going wonderful. So here are some photos of the past few trips, not including the one there and this year. We've taken a lot of students in the past. I think these ones are all 20, and last year we took a few more because it had been such a long time. Now we're taking a few less this year just because it was too many students really for the companies to manage. But you can see in the bottom left, there's Google. Out on top right is Apple's. Bottom middle is Salesforce, and then we have going on the trolley, and as well, not included in this is visits from PayPal and LinkedIn.
Thank you. Thank you
Happy
very
to
much.
answer any questions anyone has.
Sam, do you have a list?
Yes, I do. First of all, great presentation. Really liked it. And I just wanted to ask, as a point of curiosity,
yep,
with however long you've been holding this event, have people who've gone on to be the alumni
Yes.
who you're inviting?
Yes, the alumni that we met at Apple, she actually went on this trip in the first year it ran in 2017, and she helped organize it in 2018, and now she's working in Silicon Valley at Apple, as well as her husband is the same too. They were both on the first trip, and they both ended up working at Apple in Silicon Valley, which was really cool to see. It was really, really nice to talk to them, because I mean, they were even more than the other alumni we met. I mean, even more in our shoes, in the sense that they went on this very trip. And her name was Laura, and I got some really good advice from her running the trip earlier this year to make it even more successful than it had been in the past, and smoother. Thanks for the question.
Okay, Abby, you have the next list?
Thank you. Mitch, just simple comment. I'm glad to see the price come down. I know it was, I think it was 10K last year, maybe a little bit more than that. So bringing it down to 7,500 as former VP Finance, always happy to see the prices go down. So
Sounds good.
good on you for that.
Thank you.
Emilio, you also
Yeah,
have a
I was
list?
just gonna say I voted in favor of this last year at the 10K. I was also very happy to see the price come down. I just want to let everybody know that this is one of the few things that we approved last year that science students brought forward. That was an external thing. I currently work for Apple. I fly down a couple times a year. I understand how difficult it is to get hired there. I went through 5 interviews. You know, I'm gonna vote in favor of this. I think it's super important for SFU to continue networking. I like us to be one of the top IT schools. And that's really it. So good for you for bringing the cost down. I'm hoping that you could bring as many students as last year. If you can't, that's fine. But I will be voting in favor of this. And I really want people to be cognizant that, you know, science students don't really bring a lot of stuff because they're usually out grinding with all their difficult coursework. And it's important we support this. So that's all I got to say on it. Good for you. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
If there aren't any further lists, questions, comments whatsoever, then I guess I will end this off with thanking you, Mitchell, sincerely for the presentation. It was wonderfully done.
Thank you.
We were very glad to be presented with something like this. Okay, I think the presentation's concluded. Thank you very much for your time. I will go back to sharing my screen. Yes, and we will go into in-camera. There are items in here that definitely overlap with the rest of the stuff that Thomas submitted earlier. I will take a look. Okay, there's a sub MOU, VC at large motion. Okay, Thomas, I'd like some clarification on this. At the moment, items like sub room 1330 MOU, these are in camera. But you've also moved the item to be a regular discussion item. I'm wondering if this is going to be in camera or not.
Yeah, so the sub 1330 MOU, that is going to be just a normal discussion item. It's not much, it's just more of like an update, I guess, sort of for people that I have. The real one is that needs to be in camera's residence and housing letter. The community safety and SFSS involvement, I don't remember submitting that. I think someone else may have submitted that, or maybe I did actually. I don't think that was me. So I don't know. Maybe it's we could strike that one, I guess, or we can skip over it. I don't remember submitting that. I don't have anything outlined for that specifically. I just went to the red letter in camera.
Hold it. If we don't know what the community safety came from, it's best not to touch it just yet. And if we have regular discussion items, then I'd like to discuss those first. And we can start with what would be. Oh, discussion items happen at the end. Then okay, that makes things easy. If that's the case, then sub room 1330 MOU will not be discussed in camera. We can talk about the residence and housing letter along with community safety. And before then, I'd like to move to go into camera for the remainder of the meeting. Am I able to get a seconder?
History.
I hear that history seconds, so I'm looking for unanimous consent. I'm receiving no dissent. Allow me to stop recording for a second. Okay, we seem to be good now. Recording has been resumed. I'd like to move to go into X camera for the remainder of the meeting. Would anyone like to second?
History.
Okay, history seconds. I'm seeking unanimous consent. I seem to be getting no dissent. This is very good. We're officially considered X camera. Allow me to go back to sharing whatever is on the board. Very, very nice. Okay. Would we like to begin discussion on the sub 1330 MOU?
Yeah, I guess I can start this.
Please do.
This is more of just, I guess, me like sharing this information with council. We talked about this briefly before, about allocating subroom 1330 on the first floor, because the how club workspace. We want to allocate it towards robot soccer, because they needed a space for running their tests and all their other club activities, right? But then we realized that Liam and I realized that other applied science groups also needed a space, a design space in the sub. So we had been working with presidents of each applied science departmental student union about allocating room 1330 as a space towards a new proposed faculty student union, since applied science does not have one, similar to or SAS, or I guess BAS even technically, but similar to that kind of concept, since both SAS and SAS have rooms on the third floor, but faculty of applied science does not have any within the sub. So that was one thing we were working on, but we ran a vote with each of the student unions, and 5 of them in total. And although all 3 Surrey ones, the mechatronics, sustainable energy engineering, and software systems student societies were in favor of making a new faculty student union to practically help us with regulating the space. The engineering student society and computer science student society voted against, and we were looking ideally for an 80% in favor vote before we would move forward with it. And since both ESSS and CSSS were against, we will not be moving forward with a new faculty of applied science student union being formed, or student society being formed. And instead, what we will be using subroom 1330 for is we are hoping to allocate it as a design space for different applied science clubs. So, like for instance, SFU aerospace, SFU rocketry, and robot soccer, as well as Phantom, I believe.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Thomas. Thank you for the explanation. Sam, you have a list? He retracts. Sustainable energy a list?
Hey everyone. We had on Monday our weekly CSS meeting where we recounted the same Faculty of Applied Science Student Union vote. I want to say that our entire executive committee, as well as our president, are very sad that this didn't happen. Beyond the fact that it gets us better room booking, it also gets us a seat at the table, and it would really help us with the conferences and these sorts of things. So if the engineering science counselor and the computer system, the CS counselor, would like to go back to their presidents maybe and ask if we could try this again, it would mean a lot to us on the Surrey campus here, especially because our programs are smaller and our budgets are tighter. That isn't the purpose of this motion, though. I would like to ask how we can make this work for the design teams on the Surrey campus.
Pardon, could you repeat the last part of that question again?
Sure. How can we? Sorry, I forgot who the original who originally brought this motion is. How we're going to make this bookable space, or how we're going to make this space useful to the teams on the Surrey campus, and if there's any more thought put into how it's going to be booked. I can already imagine, like what Phantom currently does is store their race car in the garage under the C building, and I can't really see how space like that would be useful to them on another campus.
Well, I completely understand what you mean by this, and it is going to be a different circumstance than what you mentioned with Team Phantom, in the way that there's going to be a space in the sub, and the sub is a building inside Burnaby campus. So obviously there's going to be different effects based on whatever design team they're on. The main idea of this in the first place was to at least take the first few steps to ensure that the design teams at SFU would at least have a space to work in, because it seems to be one of the common or constant struggles that all the design teams seem to have, which is having a space to do their testing, storing their items, have equipments, use their equipments, et cetera, and mainly just it's something that I've been pushing for a while, because design teams, they don't really get as much representation along with support as much as other groups or societies, other clubs do. And we have an open space inside the sub that we can use to help not just one design teams, but something that we can sort of allocate and integrate all the design teams to benefit from, or as much as possible. Now, that's not going to change the fact that this is still going to be on Burnaby campus and it's on inside Surrey campus, but first of all, it's better than nothing, and secondly, it's the student society's way of saying, hey, not only do we see you, but we're willing to take the effort to benefit you in ways that all the design teams should get benefits from. I hope that answers your question. I will take that as a yes. Sam, you have the next list. Sam. MBV.
Sorry. So there's some noise around me. I just want to say that while I understand the need for design teams, I am very, very hesitant to give space to a group that is not a faculty student union, as there were a whole bunch of concerns brought up last time. There was the reallocation of giving space to student groups, and I remember from reading the meeting minutes that it was a large struggle to get the SAS and SUS common rooms. And while I understand the design team concerns, without a Faculty of Applied Science FSU, to help manage and govern and give that space, I would be very hesitant, with the potential exception of opening up the design space to Faculty of Science and Faculty of Business competitive teams, because it gives a similar vibe of thing. I know it would also dilute the use of the room. However, this could be solved by the creation of a faculty student union if engineering and computer science want to rethink their decision. That would put things in an entirely different light. However, as I said, I'm very hesitant in its current form.
I completely understand your concerns. And to clarify, like these specific concerns have been recognized before with Thomas and I. I can repeat a few things that Thomas had mentioned and the way that we've set up teams, meetings with the presence of these applied science student societies. To be perfectly clear, we have attempted to formulate a fast student union before in the past. It wasn't mainly just, in order for this room allocation to happen, it's mainly we've kind of been pushing for a fast student union for a while. It didn't get to happen. Given the certain circumstances, we could keep pushing for a fast student union if we wanted to. I mean, it could still be an option that's on the table. Maybe engineering or CSSS might change their mind in the future, but it's still something that I believe it's worth time to, bring up, just to let you guys all in on the light of what we're doing at the moment and what we're trying to do. Okay, yeah, Emilio, you have your list.
Yep. I was just gonna say in the conversations I've had within some of my advisors for some of my breadth courses that are in sciences and things, as well as some of my advisors with arts. When the sub went up, there were a lot of promises for dedicated space or, the student unions and things that kind of never materialized. My concern is the precedent that this will set if they aren't a student union. I really don't understand why you have to have 80% in favor to make a student union. Is that some rule somewhere or something like that? Or is that just an arbitrary decision? Or can we not just have a majority rules kind of thing and make it so that they are a student union so we don't set a precedent where we're giving space, which if we were to ask John, our building manager, is at a premium. I mean, there was a huge fight over another non-student group that won a space last year, near the end of the year, that a whole bunch of emergency meetings were called over that we said, no, we don't have space for. And now we were asked to give space to another non-student union group. So I'm hesitant to approve space for anything that isn't a designated student union for that reason, because I was down in the trenches fighting against that, because I really want space for designated student unions that our fees pay for. So that's where I'm coming from on this. If you guys form a student union, I'm okay with it. If you don't, I'm kind of hesitant. So that's all I have to say.
I see. I can answer your first question about the 80% rule. First of all, it's not something that's written down in the policy anywhere, but it's not exactly an arbitrary decision before. To provide some context, if we're going to be forming a fast student union, there's really only a handful of student unions that are going to compose it. There's only 5: mechatronics, sustainable engineering, there's computer science, engineering, and did I say mechatronics? Yeah, and anyway, there's only 5 main student unions, and 80% would therefore mean like 4 out of 5, which should basically be the bare minimum in contexts like these. Not to mention that because this is going to be a room that's going to be on Burnaby campus, and not all of these applied science student unions are going to be situated on Burnaby campus, then if engineering, which is one of the Burnaby campus ones, is disagreeing with it, or CSSS is disagreeing with it, well, their opinions on this, it's not negligible, and it's kind of scuffy to move forward with a union if like humongous parts of the society are against the formation of it in the first place. So it's kind of just more of a concern of following the right process and making sure that everyone has a relevant voice in this discussion. Sam, you have a direct response. Apologies for the delay.
Okay. Yes, I also want to say it's also important to look at the proportion of people within these student unions. Like CSSS, I believe, represents 2,800 students out of 4,300 total in the faculty. So it is interesting to know that it is the largest 2 student unions within the faculty who voted against.
Yes.
Although I do not understand, as it is in the best interest of engineering to have a space for the design teams.
There are there's a bunch of things to consider when you're forming a student union. Then certain things aren't that. Certain things don't seem that pleasant to them. But yeah, I understand your point. I get it. Oh. Andrew, do you have a direct response analyst at the same time?
There, sorry, I wasn't sure if you would take my direct response, but I'd write that as well. Just
No, I'll take it. I'll retract your list though.
yeah, much appreciated. I do have a happy answer, or as far as I can tell, a happy answer for why those two student societies voted against the formation. I wasn't present in the meeting because it actually occurred at the exact same time as our weekly DSU meeting, but our president did come back with the synopsis on the discussion, and I will not speak ill. It isn't really the point of this motion, but if you want the short on it, they were not open to hearing what anyone had to say about the benefits of this union. Those in that meeting from the ESSS and CSSS side, and they were convinced that they would lose power and would lose funding with the formation of this union. If these are out-of-pocket things to say and I need to retract them, CSSS or ESSS counselors, please speak up and let me know. I would also note that while they are the most populous, the little guy does deserve a vote. And if we were to give it purely or largely based on population within the society, then CSS and MSc would get no votes on anything ever because we are so much smaller than those Burnaby programs. And anyway, I'm a big fan of the FASU you can expect. And I would love to give more resources to our design teams because if we want to be a big university in this country with a great engineering program, we can't do it with no design team space. Everybody else has design team space. But I hear your concerns about giving space to people that aren't in a DSU. And I think if we want this to happen, we may need to form a fast student union somehow first. Thank you.
These are largely agreed upon by me. Oh, Emilio, a direct response.
Yeah, can I just ask you, Liam, if from what we're hearing on pushback, would this affect the funding for CSSS and the other student union that's against us, or would they still receive funding if they decided to push forward with forming a union?
No, I would reassure them that the formation of a fast union doesn't have an effect on their block of funding, as in their student societies. Their separate bodies will not be losing any money on this operation. There will be a new block of funding allocated if a fast student union exists, but the student society, their own money, their own core funding will not be touched. That's the SFSS is not interested in doing that, and it's something that I guarantee them many times.
Okay, can I ask another question then? Would CSSS and all the other student unions involved exist as they are now separate, but there would also be another student union directly to advocating for all applied sciences as well, so that they would still be able to advocate for things that are important to their program, like that trip that we're funding hopefully today, or not, or how does that work?
I'm sorry to clarify your question. Are you asking if these student societies would still exist after fast forums, or?
Yes.
Oh yeah, they would still exist, definitely.
So,
just be
so they still get funding.
All of them.
They still can have everything that exists now. It's just there's another block that they would have where they can advocate together as applied sciences, right?
That is the idea.
Okay, so there's no downsides to it then, right? We're on record saying that.
I'd be careful before going there. No
Okay.
downsides.
Well,
I'm just
that's from somebody on the outside looking in. It seems quite illogical to not vote for this, in favor of this. So I'm just trying to cut to the heart of the matter. That's all.
CSSS has a list themselves they can respond to. But before then, Abby, you have a direct response.
Yeah, I think you answered most of it. I thought I'd just clarify that if this faculty student union was formed, it would have its very own core. And talking about funding CS could actually pull a portion of funding from this faculty student union as well. They could be contributors and bring this cost down even more for, next year's trip, for example, if this union was formed this year, right? So That's just something I wanted to clarify, that it would create an additional pocket of funding, an additional pocket of volunteer positions, an additional counselor position that would be paid. Essentially, we'd be enriching the SFSS economy, is how I'd put it.
Yeah, that's mainly right. Citra and Wes, you have a list?
Yeah. Like I think, sorry, this was meant to be a direct response to, I think it was the city councilor. Personally, I wasn't looking into the discussion for this. I don't know how CHS voted, but I definitely see your concerns. Like I see like the point of the like sort of the faculty student union. So I'm like definitely willing to like go back and talk to CSSS and see like, you know, like what were the concerns, like or how we can move forward with this. Because I personally think that this is like also favorable, but like I was not looped into the discussion. I had no idea that this vote even happened.
Thank you. Do we have any further discussion on this? On all Spark notes, our situation's at a bit of a standstill with regards to this. Unless these student societies, they change their votes or things shift down the line, it looks like a fast union would currently not be formed. And if it isn't formed, I completely understand the hesitated opinions of, you know, allocating a design space without a student union backing them up. It's a bit of a risky endeavor in the way that it hasn't really done before. And I also understand your concerns about precedents. I'll try to keep pushing for a fast union on my end. If it's not possible, if they really, really won't listen, then I'll still push for allocating a design space for 1330. It's still something that I would like to do. That's maybe the main point for it. Do you have any further lists at all? I take this silence as a no. Then, Abby, can you confirm if we're all done with discussion items?
Unless we amended any on, I believe we're done.
We did invent something. We did amend something on. I believe it was the yes, Thomas list.
All right, so UAA earlier today we had discussed potentially working with SFU to create like an app for students to use so that they can like easily access I guess different services from both SFU and SFSS. We had discussed whether or not we should just keep it as SFSS or we should collaborate with SFU on it. We kind of in the meeting we kind of reached out. We should probably work with SFU on it so we could just include more stuff and have it tailored towards undergraduate students. Because right now, I mean, SFU has like I believe there's the recreation app, and then there's Snap, but like SFU Snap, but I can't say much for the recreation app. I never really use it, but for SFU Snap, I think we can all agree that it's kind of useless. Like you don't really do anything with it. I mean, it's supposed to be sort of a wayfinder app, I guess, right? For you to find like where your class is at. But I mean, I've never actually really used it to find my classes. When I did try, I kind of got lost. I mean, it was good because then I was able to find my class. And then I got better at navigating the campus. But still, it was practically useless. And then on top of that, it would be much easier because it would make it easier to access services, maybe to reach out to perhaps maybe for health and counseling, if we could do like an app that students could easily like schedule appointments, or like easily call my SSP, something like that. Maybe an app for students to easily I guess book or schedule different things with us, for instance. So yeah, just wanted to bring that to council for discussion.
Thank you. Emilio, a list?
Yeah, I think that you guys should work with SFU unless you're planning on hiring a developer of some sort to manage this long term. Previously with the student union I was an executive at, we developed one ourselves, and then when the student that developed it left, it kind of died. So if you want something long term that is in collaboration with it, maybe SFU IT services can take over or something like that. The other reason is because if there are some eccentricities with how it would interact with, because I don't know what you want the app to do exactly with SFU's internal IT, you'd have to get their people to kind of go over it with all the security requirements and everything that kind of has. So I think that it should work with SFU at some point. I don't know how much it's going to cost to do that or how much we're going to have to bear for that if we do, but it's something that unless we're willing to take on the extended development and patching and meeting all the requirements for the app stores and everything else, you're going to have to go and work with SFU long term. That's all I have to say on that.
Let me see your post there. Thomas, could you clarify what exactly would the app be doing if it gets launched?
Ideally, we're still working out the details about this. We were just sort of talking about it briefly in UAA meeting. But it was more of basically to sort of make it easier for students to access different services, different information. Because everything right now, you kind of have to like search up type of SVU, LTA, go through them, look up whatever you're looking at, and like scroll for like a while before you find anything really useful. It was more basically trying to make things more accessible to students, and more easily access. Yeah.
Oh, I see. I get your point. That's good. MBB, you have a list? Sam?
Yes, sorry. Liam, I've been informed that there is a motion or item that was missed at the beginning. I don't know everything about it, but it's on Access for All. It's a campaign that UBC was running on access around education, specifically recorded Zoom lectures, that kind of thing. Nancy knows more about it. Can I pass it over to her just to speak for a minute?
Go for it.
Hi, I hope everyone can hear me. I want to apologize for this last minute thing, but so pretty much it's been well past overdue, but UBC AMS reached out to us asking if we want to sign on to a letter for Access for All, and essentially I gave Sam the letter. He can forward it out to everyone. They're wanting to have different student societies sign on to the letter, and it pretty much is asking for accessible learning for everyone. Part of the thing is making lecture recordings a mandatory thing, making sure hybrid classes are an option, pretty much making education accessible for all. There's a bunch of other stuff listed in there. This was something that Priyanka was covering, but I believe that she's in class right now. So she's not probably going to be able to talk about this too much. I'm not 100% sure if anyone else knows a bit more about Access for All. It's something that a lot of students, as a lot of institutions do, like for like a week long, but this is something that they're trying to push universities to implement long term. So there's like a letter that goes along with it. Yeah, sorry, that's all I have.
Oh. This sounds like a different topic from the SFU app. Like a completely different topic. Is this another item we want to discuss?
Yeah, it is. Sorry, I was I'm not feeling really well, so I'm like, I'm a bit behind on everything that's happening, but it was something that was supposed to be put in earlier, but I think with confusion between Priyanka and I, We were hoping to see if maybe we can like suspend the rules and try to put it in now. I just putting it in as like, Sam just wanted to mention it now. We can continue with whatever discussions are going on. It's just more so of a, heads up.
Yeah, I agree with ISSU here. I prefer we finish the app discussion before moving on to this. As far as the app goes,
Funny joke.
Hey, Liam.
let me just mute Sam real quick. Okay, Thomas, the thing about the app is, like Emilio might have mentioned before, it would be something that's going to be developed on SW's side, but I do like the idea of making the services more accessible. One thing I've always wanted is to have some sort of huge, large events calendar that includes every single thing that the SFS is doing onto one giant, basically calendar interface. Right now, any time they have these big events, SFSS handles, be it like free breakfast or club stays or etc. These things, they're very popular on their social media that I usually just access it that way. And also I work here, so of course I would know about them, but a calendar interface would make them a lot more useful, especially because SFSS, it has knowledge of just about all the biggest events that are going to be happening, not just the ones that it finances, like Street Fest, etc., but also the ones that are going to be hosted by other student unions, like Mechatronics graduation ceremony. That's one of the examples. So it has all this data, has access to the information. It can put them onto a giant calendar interface. And if we can launch that kind of an app out to give the students, I see huge potential in something like that. And so people won't have to miss out on any events that they can see. Oh yeah, Evan, you have a list?
Yeah, I don't know about other counselors, but to me, I think the app is a good idea. I don't see any problems with it, and I'm thinking maybe we could just push it through, but that's my opinion.
Seems simple enough. I don't think we can take any kind of concrete action on this at the moment, other than just bring it up. Oh, Thomas, you have a list?
Yes, I was gonna say, yeah, about the app, yeah, we probably can't take any concrete action immediately. But with regard to the calendar interface, we could probably adapt our website to include a better calendar interface that includes all the major events and initiatives going on. We could probably do that. And I don't even think that needs a motion. So yeah, we can take care of that. Adding that to the list.
Thank you. Thank you. Given the interest of time, okay, this yeah, you know what? This last discussion item might be relatively quick. I don't really see a harm in talking about it. We should go and talk about it. Hey, Sam, or you or Nancy like to move to amend the rules at an extra discussion item?
Yes. Can I also move to add a potential vote on the letter? I just sent it out to everyone as well. It's a similar thing that we need to sign on to.
Add a vote. Would that be a motion?
Yes, it would be a motion to. It's a public letter to the Minister of Higher Education on access for all. I just sent it to your counselor emails. So I move to suspend the rules to add on a discussion item on the access for all letter and a motion on signing on to the access for all letter to the BC Minister for Higher Education.
Second.
Okay, ISSU seconds. I'm seeking unanimous consent. I'm receiving no dissent. It's been added on. Sent where? Oh, sent to our emails. In fact, I just received it. I've been reading it for a few minutes. And yeah. I agree, Amelia. The letter also seems fine in my perspective as well. Do you have any further things you'd like to say on this? Now would be the time to do so. ISSU has a list.
So are we writing a letter to the, I don't know, so to a government official about this? This isn't the SFU, we're lobbying the government.
It seems so. Oh, MBB, you have a direct response.
Can I hand it over to? Oh, never mind. It would be it's a letter that's already written by the UBC. Pretty sure the UBC equivalent of DNA, and here. It's written by AMS. Sorry, it's written by AMS, and it's in support of pretty much lecture recordings, more hybrid classes, pretty much stuff that they had in the pandemic, but bringing it to continuing in person. It's in line with our issues policies. But what we'd be doing is it's an open letter to the minister. So it's released in public, but addressed to the minister.
I can't see all these recommendations getting pushed, but I'd say it's at least worth advocating for. To clarify, AMS's alma mater society, which is UBC's student union. It's like their version of SFSS here. Okay. ISSU, did I get your direct response?
No, I was just gonna say that I think that I think it's important that we lobby the government for it, because this is the thing that a lot of professors push back on, and I think that might be one of the reasons why the schools didn't keep this stuff after the pandemic. So I think it's a good idea.
Yeah, okay then. Let's go for it. I think I'm going to cautiously conclude the discussions. By now, we can move on to new business, and this vote will show up as a new motion later on down the line. Seems to be okay. Then I guess I'll move on to 12.1 if we can see it right now. University and Academic Affairs Committee Student at Large. Let's take a look. Whereas the former Psychology Student Union Counselor, Hilary Sway, resigned. Whereas the VPUAA nominates Hilary as an at-large member of the University and Academic Affairs Committee, be it resolved to appoint Hilary as an at-large member of the University and Academic Affairs Committee for the remainder of the council term. Seems like a very straightforward motion. I move. Would anyone like to second?
History.
I hear that history seconds. Thank you very much. I'm opening up the floor to any discussions, if we see it necessary. I'm going to assume there isn't any. Then I'm going to call for unanimous consent. and I am receiving no dissent, then I'd like to say that this motion passes unanimously. This is 12.2, the CSSS Silicon Valley trip of 2023. Firstly, I move. Would anyone care to second?
MBB.
I hear the MBB seconds. Oh boy, I will read it aloud. Whereas the Computing Science Student Society is planning to organize a trip to Silicon Valley from April 30th to May 4, 2024. Whereas the Computing Science Student Society has successfully ran the trip to Silicon Valley 4 times since 2017, joining companies including Apple, Google, Meta, and more. Whereas the students are able to network and learn about careers at these companies, whereas they are seeking financial support above what admin and staff are allowed to approve, whereas they are requesting $7,500 of funding to support the students for this event. Be it resolved to approve spending up to X amount of dollars for the trip. I would like to add a small list here in case no one else has any. I'd like to know a bit more about the application process, as in which students can apply to go on this Valley trip, or has the students already been decided? Mitchell? Yeah, yes, please do.
Hi, sure. So basically it's based on who we think is going to be the best candidates, and not only that, who's going to value the trip the most. So we're not exclusively taking computing science students. We took engineering students. We took we took a whole bunch of different people last year. We weren't just computing science, so it's the same this year. But primarily, we're looking at like the credit counts, perhaps past co-op experience, and that sort of work, and really just looking for people who are like passionate about computing science and passionate about software development. And we think we have like a good chance of really benefiting the most from this trip. So quite often they're going to be more senior students, more advanced students. They're going to be students who have done co-op before, so they're able to relate to the experiences that these companies and these people are able to speak to. So basically, we go through all the applications. There were, I think, some were 98, 97 applicants this year, and we went through them all, and we decided who was at co-op, who gave better responses on the survey that we had, which had a few prompts. And then there were about 50 students from that who were chosen to be interviewed. So that's 2 people getting together and 2 of the volunteer interviewers meeting with them and having a discussion with them on why they want to go on the trip, what they're going to benefit, what they want to see on the trip, and kind of learn about them and have a conversation about them. And then based on those 50 interviews we're going to be doing, there's going to be 25 selected. So far, currently the interviews are ongoing until the end of the month, and then after that, then the 25 students will be finalized and selected, and then going forward from there, it'll be like collecting payment and then doing a lot of the bookings and stuff. Did that answer your
Understood.
question?
Yes. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Welcome.
All right then. Do we have any further discussions from anyone? Before we go to a vote, now will be the time to voice them. I don't think there's any further discussions. I'm going to seek unanimous consent for this motion. If you wish to dissent. Oh, right. I've just been contacted by someone to first change X amount. I don't believe there was any disagreement on the 7,500. Let me move for that very quickly. I would like to move to strike X on this motion, replace with 7,500, as in we are funding $7,500 worth of funding to support students for the CSSS Silicon Valley trip. I am moving this. Would anyone like to second?
History.
I heard that history seconds. I'm seeking unanimous consent. I am receiving no dissent, so we can consider this motion amended. So as for the actual motion itself, be it resolved to approve the spending up to $7,500 for the trip. Once again, I am seeking unanimous consent. If you wish to dissent, please do so by voicing it or raising your hand in the chat. I am seeing no dissent, so I will say that this motion passes unanimously. Well done. We approve Silicon Valley. Okay. The next item seems to be the approval of finance policy motion, submitted by acting VP internal. A notice of motion. I've been told this one should be a notice of a motion, as in there's not actually anything to vote on. I am actually not quite sure what to do in this situation. If that's, I'd like to amend the rules. I'd like to move to amend the rules, change this 12.3 item into just a notice of motion, which I interpret as a discussion item. And if anyone has any disagreements, I would like them to voice them now, and then we can figure out what to do from there. Okay, yeah, I'm moving.
History seconds.
I hear the history seconds. I'm looking for unanimous consent, making this a notice of a motion, not actually something to vote on. I am receiving no dissent. Then consider this a notice of a motion. I'll read it aloud still anyway, for the sake of it. Whereas the FAST committee reviewed and recommended changes to the finance policy of the society on October 13th, whereas the governance committee reviewed and discussed these changes on October 30th, 2023, be it resolved that the SFSS adopt the changes to the finance policy outlined in attachment SFSS Finance Policies 2023. Have we taken a look at the SFSS Finance Policies document yet? I'd like to get a gauge as to who has. Oh, yes, Cindy, you have a list?
Yeah, so if this is a notice of motion, I believe that would be sent out with the next agenda. The actual edits to the finance policies.
This sounds good. VP Finance is not here. VP Internal is also not here. Is there anyone who can speak to this at all? I'm going to take that silence as a no. That it is a. If that is a no, then I will be moving on to the amended motions now. First things first, we can take care of the housing letter. So let me mute myself. Give me a second. I'll type something up and then we can vote on it then. We can consider this like a what? 3 minute, 5 minute break. Hello, everyone. Apologies for the wait. Welcome back. This is the motion I currently have prepared. It's inside the chat right now. If we have any changes, suggestions for it, then that would be the time to do so. If there isn't really anything else to say, then I guess we can just move to voting. I guess I'll give a few seconds for people to read, and then I'll wait a few seconds for any discussions as well. We pretty much already exhausted everything that needs to be said. Oh, my bad. I realized that I forgot to supply a title for this. I'll make a title for this right now. What was it called? I will call this. I'll call this SFSS Residence and Housing Letter. I feel like we can make that the title. What about food costs? Do we want to talk about food costs as well? We could. I assume that you mean the dining hall. Oh, yes. ISSU list.
Yeah, no, I don't want to complicate this. I was just wondering because if this is also, if you also meant for this to be about like the cost of food, I think maybe we should mention that specifically, or mention the dining hall or meal plans. But if you guys want to address that separately, that's good too.
I was of the impression that SFU wasn't going to be making the proposal to increase dining hall food costs, at their next Board of Governors meeting. It was going to be specific to residence costs. So if that's the thing that we're trying to address right away, which is what's going to be happening tomorrow, and also the proposed thing that's going to be happening on Thursday, then it might be worth our time to address them separately. That's my reasoning. No problem. I'm going to be going to voting after. Oh, crap. Right. I would like to move this motion. Would anyone care to second?
History.
I hear that history seconds. Then I would like to seek unanimous consent. At this time, I'm receiving no dissent. We can officially confirm that this motion passes unanimously. Well done, everybody. Sam, do you have a body of text prepared for? Oh, yes. Goodbye, Amelia. Sam, do you have any body of text prepared for the voting of the AMS letter?
I do not yet. If you want to pause again, I can make it, or if you want to move on to Q&A and then circle back, I can type something up.
Oh, right. We have a VCC at large nomination motion that is still pending at the moment. Okay, I propose we take care of that motion first, and then while that happens, you could create the motion for the AMS letter. I will scroll up to that VCC motion. Okay. You can consider this 12.4 VCC at large nominations. I will read it aloud. But before I do that, I would like to move and then look for a seconder. May I get a seconder?
Events.
I hear that event seconds. So where is the Vancouver Campus Committee nominated Jasmine Dillon, Claire Zhu, and Hugo Liu to join the VCC as at-large members? Be it resolved to add Jasmine Dillon, Claire Zhu, and Hugo Liu. I apologize if there are pronunciation errors that I made, as at-large members of the VCC. This seems straightforward enough. I'm going to move straight to unanimous consent voting. As expected, I am viewing no dissent. Then if that is the case, I would like to consider this motion passed unanimously. Sam, that was relatively quick. I don't know if you need more time.
I do.
Would you like me to write it?
Priyanka has a motion. We're just waiting on it to be finalized, and then she'll send it.
Wait, Priyanka has a motion?
Yes.
Was it mentioned inside? Was it mentioned during adoption? Or is this yet another thing to put on?
No, I'd said that I moved the motion to approve the letter, but I hadn't put in any whereas clauses on it. I moved to include a motion on the approval of the letter when I moved to include the discussion item.
Okay.
If you want, we can just
So is the
call.
motion that's going to be written by you and the motion that Priyanka is moving, are they the same motion or are they different ones?
Same motion. Me, Priyanka, and Nancy have been talking all meeting about this, so whereas most of the speaking's been coming from me and Nancy.
Okay. Sam, would you like us to take another 5-minute break?
Is it okay if we take a 2-minute break? I just got the motion. I need to transcribe it, but it shouldn't be a full 5 minutes.
No problem, of course.
Hey Liam, just posted the motion in chat.
Yes, I see it. Thank you very much. I think we can go ahead now. I'm assuming you move this. Then if you move this, I'm seconding it.
I do.
I will read it aloud. Whereas Access for All campaign is a student-led movement that aims to ensure equitable and accessible course practices at the post-secondary level, whereas the UBC AMS is submitting a letter to the provincial government with specific asks, be it resolved that the SFSS sign off on the letter titled Make Education Accessible at Post-Secondary Institutions. I am cautiously seeking unanimous consent. Unless there's any discussion. There doesn't seem to be anything. Then this means I'm receiving no dissent. We can consider this motion passed unanimously. Well done, fellas. And thank you very much, Sam, for writing the motion.
It was Priyanka who wrote it. I just copied it.
Thank you very much, Sam, for copy and pasting the motion. I would like to move on to item 17. You know it, which is going to be adjournment. I move someone please second.
CSA second.
CSA second. Thank you so much. You are a good person. Be it resolved to adjourn this meeting at 6:52 p.m. I am seeking unanimous consent. If you wish to dissent, please do not. I am receiving no dissent. We can officially consider this meeting adjourned. Thank you very much, everyone, for your time, and I wish you all a good night.